phone?
Huh?
You like the new phone, like the newer one?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I like the camera's a lot better on this one. What's
Y'all,
good?
I heard y'all talk, but I ain't listened to what you. How you get your phone? You just get yours from Apple, or you pay like the contractor price to like your plan?
I did the plan.
The plan?
Yeah, because I thought it was they finance the shit, but they don't finance it.
You know, they used to do that shit, you know.
Right, but yeah, they it's the same price basically. Right. What's good, everybody? This is Dre all day. Y'all know who I am. We live here. If y'all are in the stream, please tell me your name and location. I am live streaming live from Work on Your Game University. All right, this is I'm on the road right now. We in Oregon. It's kind of cold out here. Y'all like that view, that backyard, fence? As y'all come in, tell me your name and location. Name and location. We're gonna get into this real quick because we about to get out of here. You know, man, B Battles here. We about to go out and see the town, whatever there is to offer out here. So as y'all come in, tell me your name and location. Name and location. Aaron from Philly. What's good? I am posting in Euro Pro Basket. Is that Brad? Brad, is that you there under Euro Pro Basket? But if y'all come, Adrian from East San Jose, what's going on? Tell me your name and location as y'all come in. We about to get into the stream really quick. I got one thing I'm going to share with you. Oh, yeah, what's going on, Brad? Hope you're doing good, man. We need to connect. Man, I think I need to have you on the podcast again. We need to talk about this overseas game, man. So as y'all come in, tell me your name and location. Jeremiah from Pittsburgh, PA. What's going on? We're going to get into this in like less than 30 seconds. For y'all who don't know who I am, or maybe you've been following me, but you still don't know, my name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, former 9-year pro athlete, now author of 25 books, creator of this whole philosophy called, can you guess the name? It's called Work on Your Game. It's about taking a pro athlete mindset, teaching you how to apply it in your business, your sport, and your life. Now, I'm going to give you one thing. Sometimes I can go for an hour on these streams, but this one's only going to be about 10 minutes or less. But I want to talk about one thing here, and that is this. Every once in a while, and as y'all come in, if you got a question, comment, whatever, go ahead, post it. I'll answer them at the end. But every now and then somebody comes around to me and they, when they find out that I've written books, a lot of people want to write books. I don't know why, what the big deal is with writing books with people. I can't say I don't know what the big deal is. I've written all these books, but a lot of people want to write books, I guess because they feel like it's a credibility piece for their brand. It's something that they can tell their story and put it out to the world so people know about it. So people will come to me and say, Dre, I seen that you've written books. I seen that you have self-published books. You've done books with traditional publishers. I want to write a book. What are the steps that I need to take? What do I need to do? People ask me these questions. So I am not going to tell you what those steps are here in this stream. I did do a podcast episode on that. It didn't come out yet, but when it does, y'all will know about it. Or just go subscribe to my podcast on Apple Podcasts. If you can't guess the name of my podcast, then you obviously haven't been listening because it's the same name as everything else. It's called Work on Your Game. Go look it up. So I'll tell you the steps to writing a book. But here's the other question that you need to answer before you start writing a book. And I usually will ask people this, or they'll just offer the information without me even asking. They'll say, I want to write a book, or I'll ask them why you want to write a book. And they'll say, I want to write a book because, I have a story and I've been through this, and this, and I've been through these things. And I think it can help a whole lot of other people. And I think my story will be valuable to XYZ, whoever's out there. So here's the thing you need to understand about telling your story. Because a lot of people tell me things like this, like they want to tell their story. Because I've written my first book, Buy a Game, was me basically telling my early story. My last book, not my last book, but the one that many of you know about, called Work on Your Game. I told a lot of my story. It was kind of intersped through the book, while at the same time I'm giving you the whole framework of the whole Work on Your Game philosophy. So people want to put their story out there. One reason is, ego, right? We all like to tell our own story and talk about ourselves. Who doesn't like to talk about themselves to an audience who wants to listen? Everybody wants to talk about themselves. The thing that y'all need to understand about telling your story, if you want to put it out for anybody other than your grandkids or your son or your daughter and, 10 generations from now for them to read it, because I was just speaking to my grandmother the other day, and she said that one of my cousins who's older than me, he sent her like a blank book and told her like, yo, just write your story. Tell your life story so that when you're passed on, everybody in the family can read your story so we know your background, where you came from, all that stuff. And that was just and she's going to do it. And she's going to tell her story the same way a lot of you want to tell your story. The difference between my grandmother and you is my grandmother's not trying to build a brand. Like, my grandma ain't on Instagram. My grandma's not trying to put a book out to people who never heard of her. She's putting her book out for people like me, her grandson, her kids, and our kids and generations from now will all know who the matriarch, at least of this branch of the family tree, was. She's telling her story for people who already know her and care about her. They want to hear the story. For you, if you're trying to put your story out there to people like me, or if I'm putting my story out there to people like you don't know me, we're not related, you don't really care about my story. Like, my story is not that interesting to you. Now, you might say, well, Dre, look, you wrote a book and you told your story, or this person told their story. There's a bunch of people tell their stories in their books and their content and things like that. But what you don't understand, or maybe what you do understand, maybe you haven't thought about it, maybe you have not implemented it, and this is why I'm telling you, is that when you're telling your story, the part that makes people interested is when you can take the elements of your story that are useful, actionable, and transferable, and you can tell people, all right, I went through this, this, and this. That nobody cares about that. What people care about is, all right, instead of responding this way like most people would, instead I did this. Or when I faced this challenge, I did this right here. Or when I was in this situation that everybody goes through who does the same thing that I do, instead of falling apart or coming up short, or you may be facing this challenge or that challenge, here are the things that I did to make it work. So that's me telling my story, but at the same time, I'm giving you some actionable, useful information that you can utilize to put into your own story, your own life. You can implement it and you can get some tangible results. In other words, you need to use your story, not just to tell it, because nobody gives a damn about your story. Okay. Your parents don't really care. Your kids don't care. Your husband and wife don't really care about your story, because you know why? All of us are interested in our own story. Every one of us is living a story right now. So when somebody comes to me and they say, well, Dre, I want to write a book because I have a story. And I'm like, yo, there's 8 billion people on the planet got a fucking story. Like, nobody wants to hear your story. They all think about their own story. I'm thinking about my story. I want to hear your story. The only reason I want to hear your story is if you can tell me how your story helped you achieve something that I also want to achieve. That's what makes a story interesting. So if I tell you my story of how I was sitting on the bench in high school, my 1 year on the varsity, and I didn't even make it till I was a senior, and then I walked on in college, and then I wasn't even on the team as a senior in college, and then I went and played overseas, that's a story. The only reason you care about that story is because some part of that story, you're like, damn, I'm in the same spot and I want to do what you did. That's the part that gets you interested. It's not the fact that I went through these things. So I understand that as the person who's putting my story or information out there, I understand that you're not buying. It's not me, the person that you are so enthralled with or in love with. Maybe you come to love me if you listen to my stuff enough. I'm sure you will. But the thing that hooks you in is not, hey, my name is Dre Baldwin, let me tell you my story. No. When I put out the book, Work on Your Game, y'all see the subtitle to the book? It says, Work on Your Game. It doesn't say the life story of Dre Baldwin, because people will be like, who the fuck is Dre Baldwin? And you probably wouldn't buy the book. But if it says instead, use the pro athlete mindset to dominate your game in business, sports, and life. Now you're like, oh, okay. All right, so this is an athlete, a pro athlete. He's talking about mindset, and he's telling you not only how to do it in sports, but also in business and in life. Okay, now this might be interesting. Let me read the back cover. Let me read the description. Let me read some of the reviews. And now each one is hopefully moving you closer and closer to purchasing the book and actually reading the book. And then, of course, implementing what you get out of the book. Now, once you buy the book and read it, I guarantee you're going to get success. Now, if you don't buy the book or don't read it, then I can't control that. That's your decision. But what I want y'all to understand is what we call this a framework. And a framework is when you take something that you know and you are able to break it down, codify, modulate it into such a way that other people not only understand it and know about it, but they're able to appreciate it, implement it, and they're able to get results for themselves based on what you went through and then what you broke down and explained. And if you look around at any online expert, guru, influencer, you look at a Grant Cardone, you look at Tim Ferriss, you look at Gary Vee, none of these guys have ever written a book that says the story of my life, even though all these guys have sold a lot of books and they got a lot of fans. I'm just using them because they're well-known guys, right? Each one of them told you their story. You could probably I could tell you over 3 minutes, a pretty rough translation of each one of those guys' story. Now, how do I know? I don't know those dudes, not on a personal level, haven't spent a lot of time with any of them directly, but I can tell you their story. Why? Because the story is kind of intersped through the books and the content that they put out. They tell you a little bit of their story, then they're telling you the framework. All right, this is how you use this. This is what you need to do. This is what I did. This is what worked. This is what didn't work. This is what you should do different. This is what I did different. This is where I failed. This is what you should avoid. These are all the things that you, as the expert, as the influencer, as the author, it is your job to figure these things out so that when you come to the public with something, you got something to give them that they can use. Just pay attention to what I'm doing here in this stream. I'm not sitting here telling you, yo, I'm in Oregon and we in this Airbnb and we about to go to the mall and we gonna eat something. Like, nobody gives a fuck. Like, you don't care about that. What you care about is, all right, how can anything in this situation be useful to me? Because everybody, as the saying goes, everybody's tuned into the same radio station. WIIFM, it stands for What's in It for Me. Now, there are a few exceptions of people who are able to just tell you their story and you'll listen just because they're so big. Like Michelle Obama wrote a book, right? And damn near everybody's read that book. I haven't even read it yet, but I got it. I was on Amazon. That thing has 24,000 reviews, not 24,000 sales, 24,000 reviews. And y'all know that any of you who's ever written a book put on Amazon, listen, for a review, you're probably going to sell like 100 books for every one review that you get, because people don't, they ain't like everybody who reads a book leaves a review. She got 24,000 reviews of her book, and they're damn near all 5 stars. Now, Michelle Obama, I don't think she has frameworks in her book that says, all right, here's what you do. It's not a self-help book, right? It's not a how-to book. It's just her telling her story. Now, the reason Michelle Obama could do that because she was married to the fucking president. Now, there's only been 45 presidents. So unless you are the president or you're married to one, you got to do a little bit more work, okay? Gary Vee, Tim Ferriss, Grant Cardone, Dre Baldwin, we had to do a little bit more work, all right? We had to not just tell our story. We got to figure out how you could use the story and get some value, some benefit out of it, all right? Just telling the story alone ain't shit. Don't nobody care about your story, because everybody on this planet, every single minute, we are all living our own story. We ain't got time for your shit. All right, we only focus on us. So if anybody got a question, you can go ahead and post it. My name is Dre Baldwin. For those of you who don't know me, I am going to post this on YouTube. It'll probably be out in a week or two. I just put them in the queue in order. I put out a video every day on YouTube. Y'all didn't know that. A full length, well, a longer video, and I take these streams and I put them up there as well. So any of y'all who is in here right now who got a question, you can go ahead and post it. I don't know if I saw any questions while I was talking, but if not, we'll wrap this up. But y'all know where to find me. Y'all can find me. Y'all can just hit me in the DM. Anybody got a question, you can go ahead and send it there. I'll send you, or I'll tell you where you can find the answer, because I guarantee any question, challenge, concern you have that's around anything that I do or anything that I talk about, I've either written a book, created some content, done a podcast, or have an online course that will help you with it. But if you're looking for something more hands-on, more one-to-one, then I am available as a coach, consultant, speaker, also any of you who runs organizations, but those are paid services, so you must drop the bag if you want that. But if you want something free, I got a whole lot of free stuff too. My free, and just by the way, my free shit, my streams, videos, podcasts, the free stuff, the articles, I write an article every day also. If you go to workonmygame.com, you can sign up for my email list, get my articles every day, literally every day. And I want y'all to understand something. The free shit that I do, like this, like YouTube, like podcasts, well, you don't even get the podcast free anymore. It's too good to put out free. And what's the other thing? The articles, all right, they're better than the shit that people charge money for. That's just a fact. So you go buy somebody else's shit, and then you go listen to my free shit, and my free shit's better than their paid shit. That's just a fact. When am I coming back to Philly? I don't even know yet. I don't have an exact date, but I will be in Philadelphia in 2020. That's a guarantee. Probably more than once. So shout out to everybody in Philly. That's my hometown for those of y'all who don't know. But let me see. We ain't got no other questions. So that's it. We wrapping this up. Everybody have a great Friday. Check me on the story. I will be letting y'all know what's going on. If you don't follow my IG story, I know a lot of people do stories and their stories be whack as shit. If you're looking for an interesting story that actually keeps your attention and gives you some game at the same time every day, completely for free, then you need to be following my story on Instagram. So if you follow me, but you don't follow my story, make sure you start checking my story every day, because I guarantee you it will give you actual value, things you can actually use in your actual life. All right, it's not just me, talking shit and showing you what I'm eating for lunch. I might show you what I'm eating for lunch and I might talk shit, but I'm also going to give you some game on top of that. So everybody have a great Friday. Work on your game. Dre all day. We out.